just don't know how, but I must show how I love, how I love.
Okay, so I asked people in chat who they would buy a drink for, anyone in history, real or fictitious, who would it be or why? Ninth Legion British says Lindsay Lohan, because you know you're getting it in after that drink.
Oh, straight up. That's British for you. He knows what's going on.
Alright, if you want to host up the next map, we can go ahead and get it started. Guys, I'm still listening to the chat, so if you want to chime in your answer, please feel free. We're going to have some downtime moving into this next game, so all the humorous banter we can get is appreciated. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Oh, I was a big fan of Game of Thrones. I'm just kind of upset that, we're kind of in that prelude now where you gotta wait.
Yeah.
And
okay, so if I was a character from Game of Thrones, which house would I be from? And which character would it be?
Oh. It's an interesting question. Really I want to read the books, and I think that's where it would all change. So we're going to Hajducraft versus Migraine. Is that what's going on? Where is he?
Yep. So you totally dodged that. That's not fair.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, man. You kind of put me in an interesting place.
I already know who you would be, but you gotta go first.
And another problem is I can't remember all the characters.
Shoutouts to Heisu, who apparently was also in VVV, another team I was on, but Heisu was also in a Warcraft 3 team of mine, so wow, we've just been on the same teams forever. I'm buying you some time. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Can you find Migraine?
I can't, actually. He's not in here.
Dodging.
Yes, that's right. Back to the Game of Thrones question. Let's think real quick. I don't know, it's interesting because you don't drink. You're a religious man. You like to get down and dirty. And your comments and your name display this quite regularly. You have a cheeky sense of humour. You actually remind me a lot of... what's his name? The midget guy.
A Lannister? Really?
A Lannister.
Oh, wow.
What?
Okay.
He's
I can
probably
see
the best.
that.
He's actually my favorite character in the show.
He's one of my favorites too. Okay.
Why? Who would I be?
Man, you would be Renly Baratheon.
Renly Baratheon.
Uh-huh. Do you remember who that is?
Baratheon.
Players say go, by the way.
Renly Baratheon. Is he still in it in season 3? Pretty sure he died or he went.
Yeah,
he disappeared.
He dies.
Oh no, with a PvP. Alright. Shit just got real.
He's one of Robert Baratheon's sons, but he's the gay prince, becomes king.
Yeah. Gay
You know why? Because you're gay. Alrighty, guys. So we are on Newkirk Precinct Tournament Edition. Here on the bottom left-hand side of that map, actually making a little bit of an error, bringing all his probes to one mineral a second time. Never a good thing. It's playing for team You Are Underrated Migraine. Wow. Okay.
And his opponent spawning in the green, and on the right hand side of Newkirk Precinct is none other than Hazucraft for Team XTraterrestrials.
Yeah. So, back to what I was saying about Renly Baratheon. He's like this really noble character who, just because of, you know, a couple of things about him that other people don't like, you know, he kind of gets knocked on a lot, picked on, and eventually killed. And that kind of just reminds me of you. You're like this really awesome guy who, I don't know. Never mind. Let's get back to the game.
I get knocked on, and at some point in my career, I'm going to die.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. No, I don't know. The similarity's there, though. The similarity's there. Watch it. Watch it again. You'll see.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is definitely one of those things you need to take in bits at a time. I think there's just so much happening, and the in-depth of the story is so vast that you can't merely just breeze through it like watching the show. You have to like read the books, watch the show, maybe watch the show again, or maybe read the books again.
The books are even more in-depth, really, in my opinion. The thing is, they're not quite as sexual. Like, they do have their moments that they get, you know, hot and wet, but for the most part, it's not that big a deal. It's kind of underplayed a little bit. The author actually said the reason that it was built into the characters to actually have a sex drive, because they feel like that is a motive in human behavior, and they wanted the Game of Thrones to be as realistic as possible.
Which makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
People
Absolutely.
are definitely like, well, a lot of exterior motives can be derived from their sexual impulses, which makes a lot of
it's
sense.
interesting, dude. I watched a YouTube video on that recently, and it was on the results of lust on human thinking, and they actually had a guy who sold sunglasses for a living, and they had him sat up at a very sterile, non-sexual place, and they had two different kinds of sunglasses they were offering. One that said over 100,000 sold, that was like just very normal, plain, and the one that were like golden plated Elvis Presley glasses. And when they were in the sterile environment, the 100,000 conventional kind of blend in with the crowd thing sold. But when they put it in front of a porno bookshop, the Elvis glasses showed. So, and it was statistically significant, like 85% difference. So it was crazy. Now we do have a Stargate coming out of our green Protoss, and I feel like this Stargate opening, I've seen that out of him at the last Clan War, but it usually ends up not so well.
Do you reckon this is going to be Voids? Because with a 3-gate follow-up, it feels like it's going to be a pretty committed all-in.
Yeah, it usually is. He'll try to expand after doing significant damage, but it never usually goes well for him. Let's put it that way. But who knows? This is a brand new day. This is a brand new day.
Oh, and look at this. This is pretty much one of those very unfortunate things. When you're pushing out with your first initial 3 stalkers, when one of them gets tackled like this and gets ganked, I would say ganked because it was pretty much owned by 2 other stalkers. Now you're at a stalker deficit, things start to get dicey.
Dicey deficit stalker.
DDD. DDS? I don't know. Either way, we've got 3 stalkers now pushing into the main, 2 stalkers coming in from behind, so Hazu Craft is definitely at a disadvantage here, and already down 2 stalkers for the first initial 3 stalkers. We even see a mothership core having to be returned. Oh no, it's actually an offensive mothership core. And Oracle pops, doing some nice damage here, and he's going to work his way around as many of these probes as he can possible. Warp Gate's finishing up,
and if he can kill this mothership core, no, not quite. But the thing is, he's got a 7 army supply lead now, and both are even on pylon or on supply, so on probe supply. So there's a huge lead right now for our green Brotos. The thing is, he does not have an expansion, so he's moving out to aggressively apply pressure. He's got a proxy pylon, he's warping in, you know, some stalker sentry, and he's going to try to knock this nexus out while reinforcing his own. Problem is, he's not actually knocked out all the proxy pylons on his own, so he's actually in a bit of a rough situation. Now he's pulling all his probes. That was a huge mistake there. Wow, he did not mean to do that.
Yeah, that significantly delayed his push and also cut into his mineral income so much that this push, I don't think is going to work. When the next reinforcement wave comes in, oh, why is he going for the Observer? Why is there no Immortal? This could actually bite Migraine in the butt here, as this natural nexus looks like it could go down.
Absolutely, and then he could just go completely home. Yep, even warping in a couple extra sentries. Alternatives are actually Zealots. Sentry already force fielding that off. He's going to get that Nexus. Easy peasy, no problem. Now the thing is, does he choose to go home, or does he continue this push?
Oh, it looks like he's going to give it a crack. Ooh, decent time warp on top of the ramp, slowing down a lot of units, but yeah, there's just too much here. Hazu Craft looking to bust through, and XT probably on the verge of going up to 3-1 in terms of a good lead here, but you know, we've got some more Stalkers warping in, some more Zealots, but this Oracle and this like just sheer amount of units here by Hazu Craft has just got Migraine pretty fizzled right now, and he's looking to try and micro his way out of it.
Looks like he's been pushed back just a little bit. No, all we need is like another round of Hazucraft actually warping in, and that actually will seal the deal. Looks like the warp in here of Migraine already getting picked off as it comes in, and the Stalkers even targeting down the rest of these other Stalkers of Migraine. So yeah, looks like Migraine's going to go ahead and tap out here in the next couple of moments as these Stalkers get targeted down.
Yeah, he really needs an Immortal or something else to create a better buffer, but he's pushing it back. It's kind of like this interesting little battle going on between here. 4 Stalkers versus 6 Stalkers, but the Zealot buffer creating this nice ability for Migraine Stalkers to get off as many shots, but without that buffer, here we go, he's pushing back once again. The Oracle's recharging. Once it gets up to, what, 27 energy, it's going to start working its way up with the probes. And, oh, he's taking down a pylon, so it's going to cut into his ability to get as much units as possible. And there's 3 Zealots out, 3 Stalkers. There's still a proxy pylon inside of his base, and Hazu Craft looking to back off a little bit. Oh, even loses the Oracle.
Hazu Craft has, been doing a really nice timing attack here, but he's staying here way too long. He still has not built a Nexus at home. It just seems like he's completely all in here. I mean,
here we go.
It's working.
Sniping the pylons is probably one of the best choices as possible. Now we do have some Zealots as a bit of a counter-attack here, so Migraine, this is a really good choice because it's also going to force Hazu Craft's next warp-in to be at home rather than be offensive on his side of the map, and in between that time he's cleaned up a fair amount of probes, as well as, I suppose, Migraine losing a bunch of his own probes, trying to deal with the actual units already still inside of his own base, which is a bit of a problem. Being so supply capped is a big issue. Now 3 more Stalkers walking in for Hazu Craft, and this could be the tide.
Well, there's only 10 probes left now for Migraine, who's up against 26 probes of Hazu Craft. Migraine, there's no regaining that many probes. He has to either kill his opponent with what he's got, which just isn't going to happen, or he GG's out. And quite frankly, you can't blame him for staying in the game, but he's done.
Yeah, it looks like Hazucraft's just going to macro out of this. He's going for the Phoenix, he's getting some sentries, he's got some extra zealots, and this is going to secure him enough of a unit composition to take an expansion. With lifts and things like that, force fields, being able to entrap his enemy's units inside of possibly good concaves, his zealots can get right up and close and personal, and he's going to have the unit composition to, I suppose, cut around some corners. It's not all over. How is it not all over? There's a massive lead going here for Hazucraft. Hazucraft has probably got this in the bag, unless there was going to be some serious micro flaws going down by...
He changes his opinion very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay then. It's kill shoutouts to Songmeister. Well, looks like the army supplies are evening out now. 17 army here for Migraine, 22 for his opponent.
If you were in Migraine's position, what would you do? I know he's going for, like, he's got 1 in gas because he needs to prioritize probes, you know, spend probably more chronos on that, or do you just try and send units at your opponent, do some aggression? Like, he's got a bit of a nice gas bank, so this is really nice for him. Ooh.
I think this is a mistake. If he wanted to stay in this game, he needs to Nexus at home, use this army defensively. His opponent has a defender's advantage, and that is something you never want to do.
He's going to try and lock his opponent out of his base with his sentries here, but when the Phoenix come over, oh, the lifts. Do you even lift, bro? Coming in, and not to mention that Phoenix actually do extra damage versus sentries because they're a light unit, so clean them up really quick and dedicated like that. Loves it. Hazucraft taking it for XT, so that brings them into 3-1 advantage over UR.
Absolutely, man. Well, it looks like we're getting our first results in. Bear with me as I get the results in from this event, and we get this next match set up.
Cool beans.
Well, combining Migraine's tag with his name, Your Migraine, I think he wanted to be a headache for Jesus, but Jesus brought the ibuprofen. It had to be said, dude. It had to be.
Has you painkillers?
That Vicodin, bruh. Well, looks like GGK versus Lethal Perfect. Good game, kids. Versus Lethal Perfect. Good game, kids. 4-0'd them, with Cloud Shade taking a win against Goldix. SWS getting a win versus Pain. Califax getting a win versus Rush. And Technique getting a win versus Starlight.
Wow, 4-0. Crazy.
Yeah.
There's some really good teams in this league, and I don't think enough people give them enough credit. Like, if there are teams bashing up against like more notable teams like Clarity Gaming, you know that they're at a level where they're at least pushing forward to becoming more professional gamers. Like, some would say they're semi-pro. I would say they're professional gamers where they are at the moment.
Yeah.
They're putting in the hours, they're putting in the dedication, and some people don't respect how much dedication you actually need to be at the levels that they are at the moment, like the time, the replay analysis, you know, even potential to have like things like coaches, and then like the team spirit they all get together is absolutely amazing.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Well, I am going to run to the restroom. If you want to take care of the administration side of things and keep the audience entertained, I would appreciate it, guys. Let us know what you thought of that last game. Let us know what you think of our casting. If, we're absolutely terrible, you want to talk trash, please feel free. We are a trash-free environment, and we will kick you out, but you can feel free to do it.
No worries. See you in a short moment. Yeah, PvP is probably my... PvP and ZVZ are matchups I look at, like, with a big face palm. Just just the intricacies in those matchups just hurt my mind. You can be like, oh, this guy just 4-gated, he should have more units, and then the guy with 3-gate kind of just flips it on his head and wins. We get Stargate plays and things like that, and I suppose it just comes down to I don't know enough. I don't play those respective races enough to know what their mirror matchups are like, and that's probably my fault, and I'm going to work on that. As a caster perspective, I want to know more about ZVZ, I want to know more about ZVP, I want to know more about PvP, and I want to know more about PvZ. That information barrier is just ridiculous when you're thinking about other matchups. Like, as a high Master Terran player, I spend all my time focusing on around where Terrans sit in amongst these matchups, and I have a general idea about how the other matchups work, but I like to be as informative as possible. And just with PvP and ZVZ, it doesn't seem like there's enough information. It's kind of like, well, he went for a faster pool, he's going to have faster Zerglings and faster injects. Oop, he got gas.
Well, it's nothing that straight up. It's more subtle than that. What you're more looking for is not the Zerg build. It's the Zerg response. So if a Zerg scouts like a gate first, his timings are one thing. If he scouts a Forge or Nexus first, his timings are completely different. So it's based on what he scouts there. Then he's going to send an Overlord in at 6.5 to 7 minutes, and he's going to try to get a read on tech and gas. And based on what he gets on that information, depends on where he goes from there. Does that make a little more sense?
Yeah, definitely.
You're not really worried so much about when he gets his pull or what time he gets his hatch. It's the third hatch that's going to matter, because if he goes gate first, you're going to want to get a later hatch. If he goes Forge first or Nexus first, you're going to want to get a hatch as soon as you build the first pair of lings, as soon as your pull finishes.
I suppose the only difference is in that is if they were to cheese, and you'd be like, oh, this is cool because...
Well, there's really no cheese in ZVP. I mean, Zerg can 6 pull, 9 pull, 10 pull, but it's not as effective, really.
Yeah, it's kind of more of a shot in the dark, I guess.
Yeah.
Hit and miss. You can either do damage or die trying.
And Protoss has learned enough responses that it's just not that viable. Well, it looks like the players are ready if you wanted to go ahead and host that up.
So, Primal Moon and Whirlwind Koopa. Okay, easy peasy. I just remember back in the days of playing random and being able to choose from such a variety of strategies. Like, I suppose it was about the only freedom that I liked when I first started playing StarCraft. When you don't commit to a race and you want to do a little bit of everything, it's really good to kind of just play with people's minds when you get into a game like, yeah, I'm random, now what are you going to do about it? And keep them in the dark, because you see the reaction more so out of them than out of you. Oh, we're going to have another PvP. On Whirlwind, alright. Let me just stretch out my neck. Because we all know things are about to get rough.
Well, it's a bigger map, so we might see something a little bit different. I mean, you see a lot of cheese in PvP, but, if we get cross-spawn Whirlwind positions, you're probably going to see this turn into like a 20-30 minute game, which would be interesting. I'd like to see that.
I really want to see more of late game, huge feedback storms, Tempest, huge sky toss transitions, just battling each other out. That would be crazy. That's what I envision Protoss, not big gateway armies. I imagine them to be the eyes in the sky, just raining down upon everything.
When I look at the Whirlwind minimap, it always looks like a whirlwind to me, or like a rose or like a tulip or something, not really a whirlwind. If the closest thing it looks like to a whirlwind is like a shuriken or swastika or something. I'm just saying. Well, anyways, it does look like we are going to have cross-spawn positions here, which is awesome. Like I said, I want to see a longer game, and this is the most viable option. These players may kind of bank on it being cross-spawns, try to go for something a little more defensive, and that's really what I'm hoping for here. But here on the top left-hand side of the map, that is a Wind of Whirl. It's our red Brotos player playing for Extraterrestrials. It's the Primal Moon! And here on the bottom right-hand side, straight out of King Bowser's castle, Mario's greatest foe, it's underrated Koopa! Playing the blue Protoss on the right.
Alright, so you got some scout coming out here for Koopa already. Where are you going, Mr. Devious Probe? Now, as a Terran player, I've come to hate probes with a passion. They get in there, they zap away, they buzz off, they come back when they got their shields recharge, and they do it again! And then they do it again. And then if you don't kill them, and then this, like, the Oracle flies in your base, things start to heat up inside you. You feel your soul is beginning to explode, and you want to chase down that Protoss player and wring him by the neck because of how dirty those probes are. God, I hate them. It's going to be good here for PvP because you're going to get the scouting off a lot earlier than Primal Moon. As you can see, he's already cleaned out one base, so already moving now to the cross position. Meanwhile, Primal Moon on the opposite end of the map, scouting just a little bit later. It's going to be a little bit further behind on that kind of information set.
Yep. Well, I just want to go ahead and plug the Extraterrestrials website. Please check them out on Facebook by looking up Extraterrestrials. Links are in the chat, but you spell Extraterrestrials, XTRA Terrestrials. Everything else is spelled normal.
Alright, so Cybercore is coming up for both players. The second gate obviously being a decent follow-up as well. This is a good way of securing a faster expansion, just having a decent Stalker count. I like that. It's going to follow us up with the Mothership Core.
The Shuriken of Whirlwind. I love it. It always happens. It's the Shuriken of Whirlwind.
Alright, I like that. Cute little scouting path.
Alright, so I'm done interrupting you now. Go ahead, Mr. Strategy.
And likewise, Koopa getting in here, getting a nice information set as well. Unfortunately, no fast Mothership Core for Koopa. Primal Moon obviously opting to get that a lot faster, and he's going to use this to get some scouting information and check for at least the keyest, like, fastest proxy positions. And, well, what do we have here? Koopa's hiding a probe. We could see some shenanigans going up here as well.
Bro, I said the word swastika and we immediately lost 7 viewers. Nice. Guys, the swastika is an ancient Hindu Buddhist symbol. It means luck and prosperity. You're thinking of the Haken Cruise, which is the swastika with the white circle and the red background of Nazi origin. Please forgive any confusion.
Suppose information is key in all these kind of aspects. Now, we do have a Twilight Council going down. I'm thinking we could see some DTs. Or a Blink Audience definitely could be very strong on this map, as they can blink from the third base into the main.
You know, I saw one crazy White Raw game. It was PvP. It was on a huge-ass map. I think it was Red City or something. He went Observer, DT, Phoenix. That game is burned into my memory. Logically process that. Explain it.
Observer...
DT, Observer, Phoenix.
Okay. So he just killed any and all observers for his Protoss opponent and then just ran DTs at him, kind of like the Corsair DT build in Brood War.
Well, his opponent ended up cannoning, so he wasn't able to get the DTs in on a defensive or offensively. However, he was able to set up a contain on 2 bases and take, I believe it was 9 bases to his opponent's 2.
Good old right, Warrior, special tactics. Now, due to the Nexus overcharge going